Have you lost your job? Have you lost a loved one? Are you exhausted caring for your parents, for your kids? Well, you can find immediate relief when you read Sheila Mack's new #1 bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps. It contains the Boots formula to move from rock bottom back into action in any situation, especially right now. If life has knocked you down, pick yourself up with Bootstraps and Bra Straps. Get your copy at www.sheilamack.com today.
Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio, Mondays at 1 and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
Okay.
Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have special guest, Allie Michaels-Clark. Allie has over 30 years in sales and leadership and 16 years in personal development. Allie has a passion for results and exponentially taking a business or an individual to transcend, transform, and triumph. Her approach is real, raw, and authentic, yet totally unconventional. After watching her single mother work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, I'm tired just reading that, watching her only earning $3.84 an hour, she vowed that she would not succumb to that way of life and made it her mission to be financially free and never be dependent on anyone, but have the knowledge and the resources to take her life, relationships, and business, as well as her finances, to financial freedom. Allie has spent 3 decades learning from the best personal development coaches, business and financial minds such as Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, Harry Dent, Dr. John Demartini, and she's developed a 5-step system which she teaches today. Fueled by her love of traveling and being a global citizen speaking 4 languages, she will be the first to proclaim what you don't have to settle for, this life you were born into. With the right mindset, a plan, and consistent action, you can have everything you've ever wanted. Yes. With your mindset, it determines your life, your beliefs, your action, and your choices. All right. So welcome to the show, Allie.
Hi, Sheila. Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. Pleasure to be here today.
And my first thing that I always like to start off the show with is based on my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. In any situation, I'd love to ask you about a time, maybe you can share with the audience, a time in your life or your business where you hit a tough situation and how you got back on track.
Well, Sheila, I would love to share one time, but the truth is there are many, many, many times where we failed, or I failed, where the business that I was in failed, where I did hit rock bottom, or if not rock bottom, very close to that. And gosh, let me pick one. I think, you know, as an entrepreneur, it's really I guess it's also the way we are as human beings. You know, we really want to serve and to give. I'm sorry, I'm hearing a lot of echoing. I can go on, but I'm just hearing.
Yes. Hang on. I think I have a fix for that. One moment.
Okay.
We've had technological difficulties this morning, and it's wonderful because it just shows us that we are resilient And
yes, raw and real. Raw and real.
That's right. We do not give up. We just keep on going on. Okay, so 1 minute. I'm going to plug in a different mic, and it's going to make a big difference. Hang on.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. Now, how's this?
Oh, I can hear you perfectly now. And
yes.
I cannot hear myself. That's great.
Perfect.
Okay, so where were we? So a time that I hit rock bottom. Well, like I said, it hasn't been just one time. I like the saying of the more you fail, the more you actually get up and you succeed, or the closer it brings you to success. And I also love the saying that there is really no such thing as failure. There's just lessons. So the times that it felt like that were usually because of a few reasons. One is that I didn't have the clarity as to what I wanted to do with the business or where I wanted to take it. And I'm talking about how I wanted to grow it, how, if I wanted to sell it, what would that look like, how I wanted to get new leads, how I wanted to make more sales, how I wanted to make my customers happy, how I wanted to make my team happy. So clarity is a big step in actually getting from, well, when you hit rock bottom, from actually helping you get up and continue, but also clarity overall is so that you don't hit rock bottom, you know, because as soon as I got refocused into what my mission was, what I was trying to achieve, things again started to move on. I got momentum and off I went. And therefore it was easier for me to keep on going. So definitely clarity is number one. The other thing that, you know, sometimes gets us down is the fact that we don't have enough sales. So if you're, for example, running a cash flow business, you want to be able to know how much of your sales are coming in to be able to pay your employees, your expenses, the grounds that if you have, you know, if you have a bricks and mortar business and so forth. So knowing the sales or knowing how many sales you need. And again, if you're clear in your vision and if you're clear in what it is that you want to achieve financially. So for example, in all my businesses, I always start with how much money do I want to make today? Okay. So for example, when I ran my Airbnb business, it was like, how much of bookings do I want to get today? And it was usually about $5,000 a day. And I have to be honest and tell you, the days that I was fully committed to that number were the days that I was actually booking it. And I can give you like, you know, because actually, funnily enough, I actually, for 90 days, I monitored it day by day. And I've got to tell you that out of the 90 days that I monitored, it was 47 days that I actually reached that goal out of the 90 days. Wow. The other days that I did not wasn't because of anything other than I was not focused on it, meaning I got distracted. So it's really simple for us to start businesses and then get distracted, just like it is, for example, you know, if I'm trying to lose weight, for example, or if I want to eat more healthy, if I'm not focused on that, it's really easy to sort of say, hey, I have a coffee, which turns into coffee and cake, which turns into, you know, a dinner, which turns into overeating more than I should have. So business is exactly the same thing. You really need to focus on what it is that you're actually trying to achieve and what it is that you're actually have in front of you as a target. So for me, having that number, that's how I used to start every morning. You know, how much money do I actually want to bring in today? For me, I know a lot of people may kind of have that love-hate relationship with numbers and with money. For me, like I said, I mean, I watched my mother work a lot for $3.84 an hour, 7 days a week. And on the weekends, we would get up. She was a machinist, so she worked in a factory. She couldn't speak English when we came to Australia. My background's Australian. I know I don't sound it anymore. But and on the weekends, we would go to these so-called trash and treasure markets, which is kind of like the flea markets that you guys have, where she would grab the garments from her work. And she would on consignment, and then she would try to sell them to make, you know, 50 cents a garment and so forth. But back then, this is a long time ago, you had no protection from the sun, so you had no umbrellas, you had none of that. And I was like, I remember literally watching the sweat dribble on her cheek And I said to myself, there is no way I want to have this life where, I mean, I saw her, she was miserable, you know, she was miserable. She didn't eat properly. She didn't sleep properly. She was always worried about paying money. She was always worried about what she had to do to take care of the family, put food on the table, pay the bills. You know, at the time she was trying to save money to buy a house. And she actually had bought the house. And this is back in '88 when the interest rates in Australia had reached like 18%. So I remember the property had gone to auction. It had sold for $7,000 more than what she was prepared to. And then literally straight after that, she had this 18%, you know, tax. I don't know how she did it, but she did. So I really, from an early time, I grew this relationship with money, but for me, it was really fun. I mean, I remember at these trash and treasure or flea markets, whatever you want to call them, I started by borrowing $1 from her. And at the time, I was 8 years old. And at the time, I went and I bought, if you remember back in the day, there were like these really fragrant erasers in all different, you know, shapes. So, you know, strawberry and a little rocket and a dog and a whatever. And I would buy them for like 5-10 cents and I would sell them at school or primary school on the Monday for like 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents and so forth. And that taught me some amazing skills. It taught me how to have, you know, a clientele based, but it also taught me negotiation and influencing. And I think that's a super skill that I've always had ever since I can remember, ever since back in those days, together with, of course, sales. So I'm pretty proud to say that I guess I've been in sales now for 40 years. God, that kind of tells you my age, right? But it's true. I've been in sales for decades and I love to sell. But one of the things about sales, and anybody that's an entrepreneur sells. I mean, that's what we do because, you know, you're selling the service or you're selling the product. It's sell, sell, sell. And in order to sell, you really need to know your numbers, because if you don't know your numbers, you know, you can be overspending. You can just not be getting in that cash flow that you require or making those sales. And it's really important to really have a great connection with money and with numbers. And, you know, they say the root of all evil is money. Well, I totally disagree with that because, you know, they also say, and I totally agree with this one, I would rather cry in a Lamborghini than on my push bike, you know, but it's really not about, I mean, money for me today is all about freedom. You know, the more money I have, the more freedom I have to be able to share that with the people that I love. So, for example, not only with my family, but also I'm a big animal advocate. I love animals, and a lot of my money is given away to charity, to animal charities. That's what makes me happy. I also give money to women charities and children charities. That's what makes me happy. But, you know, if I didn't have it, it would be harder for me to give to the extent that I do. And this is why I urge everybody to sort of rethink their relationship with money and to come from a place of pure love and intention to actually serve everybody else around you and everybody else in your family, in your community, as it is to, you know, to well, whatever other your misconceptions may have been or perceptions may have been about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love the fact that you really started at 8 years old.
Yeah, not by choice. The other reason was, Sheila, that I never got pocket money. So, you know, I wasn't one of the cool kids. You know, Australia back then was actually racist because I look Middle Eastern. So I used to be called, you know, Lebanese, which was a little offensive to us back then. So I never got the pocket money, and I got my sport money, which was on a Friday, but I never got my pocket money, which included the canteen dollar chicken burger. Now I no longer eat chicken anymore. I'm completely vegetarian, but I used to love these chicken burgers, and it was $1. So it was for like, I wanted to be part of the cool kids. And it was like, okay, well, what do I need to do to be part of the cool kids? And, you know, even like now through all the personal development that I've gone through, I realized that what I was actually doing was really asking better questions. So rather than, you know, complaining and sort of saying, why can't I have it? Or I don't have it, or accepting the reality of not having it, I created my own reality. And again, as an entrepreneur, I think it's really important to know that you can tap into that. Because, and the way to do that is through having clarity. The way to do that is to actually having a plan to get you there, and twisting it and twitching it and turning it every time it doesn't work to get you closer to your goal. It's also having the consistency and continuing going and not stopping at the little failures in life. You know, it's having that focus that no matter what happens, no matter the distractions, you don't stop. And it's also having that the love for people, so that you actually do share your gifts with others, and you share, you know, all the money that you have is great. But at the end of the day, if you're not sharing it with anybody, I can tell you, or you're sick, which is worse, I can tell you, you might as well not bother, you know. And it was interesting because looking back now, I saw myself as asking the right questions, which again is a tool that I use today and I teach my clients today, because a lot of us don't get to ask questions. And I'm not going to say the right questions, because there's no right or wrong question. However, there are questions that will pull you forward to where you want to go, and there are questions that will, you know, propel you and push you back. But in my eyes, there's no really right or wrong question, but it is in terms of getting you to your goal or pushing you away from it. So if I'm going to, you know, ask victimizing type questions like, why did this happen to me? You know, or how can I not do this? Or why aren't I good enough to do this? Obviously, I'm going to be pushed further away to my goal. But if I ask empowering questions like, okay, how can I increase my sales? How can I get more leads? Who can I work with to get me to that $20,000 KPI this month? Or, you know, to sell off my idea or whatever. Those types of questions are going to actually pull me into the direction, into the future that I desire to choose and that I'm creating and I'm building.
Wow. Well, for those listening in, if you have young children, it is never too early to start. Obviously, I also was 8 years old when I found.
Oh, high five.
Yes. 8 years old. It's a magic number, I think. I found Think and Grow Rich book at the neighbor's garage sale. They were moving, and I was already cleaning houses, helping out cleaning houses to all the neighbors to make money. And
right.
You know, it was really interesting because there was a hunger. So don't overspoil your kids, because I promise you it won't help. And, you know, for me, my mother was in an abusive home. I was in an abusive home. And my goal was, I got this Think and Grow Rich book, and I thought, wow, I want to grow rich so I can help my mom. And this little 8-year-old kid. And, you know, I ended up working a lot. I did so much that later on, I mean, I was homeless 10 to 13 because my mom said go. And, you know, I called her every day, but she was not able to care for me. And there's so much to that in my book. But at any rate, I was able to buy her a home later on in life and help her tremendously. And it was because of the book and the hunger to help and give back. And so connecting to the reason, the big why. I mean, why do we wake up and go to work in the morning? Money's nice and we want to have money, but there's got to be a purpose and people and the commitment behind that to who are you helping? How does it affect all those people in your life, you know, contributing to causes that you believe in? How can it change the world with what you're doing? And that makes all the difference. So for those listening in, I'd love for you to share maybe some tips and pointers if they are looking to maybe get into sales or get into business for the first time on their own because they've been working for someone else. And now with our universal pause pandemic, they've had to switch over to working for themselves. Do you have any tips?
Well, here's the thing. The way the world is now, I mean, it'll never be the same as it was before, but that's the reality of it. But we are at the perfect time where anybody, anywhere around the world, because everything is now, you know, I mean, everything was there was a lot of digital stuff before, but now it's like 90% more. And it's beautiful because whatever your hobby, whatever your idea, whatever your creation, whatever your dream that you had hidden, or that you allowed fear to stop you or to freeze you from actually moving forward, propelling you forward, because, you know, what will people think, and getting in your head and maybe not knowing how to do it, or not knowing, you know, the right steps to take, or, hey, what if I fail? That little voice in your head. Well, now you can actually go ahead with that. And here's the thing, you know, there's fear inside all of us. You know, I mean, I'd be a liar to say I don't have any fear. I don't have any self-doubt at times, because we're human. And that's unfortunately the beauty and the beast part of both of it, because it's beautiful, because, you know, we are human, you know, and at the same time, we can use that fear to actually propel us forward into where we want to go. So for those of you that want to start your own business or have been thinking about it, there's no better time than now. You know, a couple of things to really think of, and as my recommendation would be, one, get really clear on what it is that you're actually trying to do. As Sheila said, what is the purpose? What's the big reason for you in that purpose? Because you need to really, it has to be a reason bigger than you. And I'm not talking about money, because it's easy to make money. I'm talking the reason why you can feel it inside your heart. You like to get up in the morning early, and it takes you to bed late, and it's okay, because, you know, you love doing it. It's kind of like, okay, if you can do anything in the world, or rather, okay, let me put it this way: if money was no option, what would you do? And they say that that's really your purpose in life. And for me, honestly, it would be living in the jungle with a bunch of animals. That's kind of, seriously, and I'm kind of heading that direction because I do live in Mexico right now. So it's you know, but it's great because I can work anywhere I choose to. And again, be really, really clear, because you can have a business and you can reach people from all over the world. So be really, really clear on why and what it is that you're actually trying to achieve. And then set a plan in motion with regards to the amount of money that you actually want to make, because that's paramount. And if you don't have that lump sum, what that actually is going to do is, in the long term, it will actually slow you down, and you won't be as productive, or you won't be able to scale as much, because you actually have, like, you know, you need to know where you are, and you need to know where you're going. And the how will naturally explain itself, evolve itself, and come to you, you know, but also be consistent and actually. So if you've been wanting to do to start your own business for years, do it. There's no better time than doing it now. I would rather, when you're sitting on your deathbed 20, 30, 40 years from now, when you're 80, 90, 100 years old, the worst thing you can do is tell yourself or tell somebody else, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd started that business. I wish I had gone and asked that person out. I wish I had an extra child, or I wish I had done that, than saying, hey, I regret doing that. I rather say I regret doing that than kind of sit on my deathbed going, I wish I had done X, Y, and Z, So it's super paramount that you don't let fear stop you, but you actually use it as a propelling mechanism to take you to where you want to go. Because my fear is actually the fear of remaining the same, the fear of not growing, the fear of not contributing, the fear of staying stagnant. That's my fear. Yeah. And that actually propels me to go forward.
That's such a good point. And in mentioning that, actually, today is Women's Day. National
It
Women's
is. Happy
Day.
International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day. And, you just mentioned being on your deathbed. And this morning I got a message that my Aunt Sylvia, who's actually in Guadalajara, she just passed away this morning. She lived a long life, and she had.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. She had 4 beautiful children. I'm very close with my cousins, and she had a beautiful family business they still run today that has blessed many generations. Now we're, having grandchildren. She has her grandchildren helping in the business. And so that's something she made a life that added to so many different generations and people in her community and all over. So it does make a difference what we do. It affects future generations and how you can live. And she had a great, great life. So that was something that came to my mind that, yeah. So, yes.
Well, you know, the thing about it is, and you've touched the point, which is my number 5, and that's leaving a legacy. Again, there's no point you actually doing all this for nothing or for nobody or for no reason. So leaving a legacy is so important. You know, I know we're doing a show in business, but to retaliate it all, it actually does stem from health and from actually having pure health and pure vitality and pure energy in the body, because that is the number one thing. So, you know, as entrepreneurs, a lot of the times our health gets run down because we do the many hours, because we try to do everything ourselves at the beginning, because we might not have the funds to actually employ people, or we may think that we do it better. I know I did. Gosh, nobody could do it as better as I did. You know, nobody could talk to the customer, could, you know, when I started my Airbnb business, clean the property as good as I could, advertise as good as I could, communicate with the customer as good as I could. And, you know, I was like doing everything to the point that I had gained like 40 pounds. And I came like this close to hating people in real estate, which were my 2 passions, because at the age of 14, I started my real estate journey because my mother had remarried, and he was a developer. So my stepfather was a developer, and he taught me everything I know with regards to, you know, finding locations, of finding land or finding a property, knocking it down, subdividing it, building, selling, advertising, all of that. And it was, you know, it was just, you can do it all yourself. But also, if your health is not there, you really, really, really shouldn't be in business again, because health is the number one thing. So health is actually wealth. And if you don't have your health, you don't have anything else. So, you know, definitely health, being clear, being consistent, tweaking your plan to get you there, not quitting, focusing, consistency, determination, never stopping until you get there, and definitely legacy, because you need that. So you need to have that whole spectrum of it to be able to not just so much succeed. We're talking about, like Tony Robbins says, to have both the art of fulfillment and also the science of achievement. So that's the only way you're actually going to get both.
How about balance? How do you find balance with life? Since you kind of brought that up a little bit.
Meditation.
How do you have the time to do all that? For those listening in, I think especially starting another business or a side business this year, a lot of people have started that. What advice do you have?
Well, look, here's the thing. For me, again, health, body, you know, you have your goals, but also your mind has to be healthy as well. And I recently have upped my meditation game. I used to sort of do it a few times a week. Sometimes, you know, I'd go for a couple of weeks and not do anything, I'll be honest. Then I'd go back to maybe doing it every single day. But ever since I did the Dr. Joe Dispenza's retreat very, very recently, meditation is really where it's at. And I can actually feel, I mean, I was a student of transcendental meditation for a really, really long time. And it's a different kind of meditation. So what I would say is your mind needs to be quietened in a way that it works for you and is right for you in order to get back that energy, or for you to feel recharged, okay? So that you can reboot yourself, so to speak, just like a computer, and start again. So meditation for me is really super important in order to achieve that. Another thing is really, and I never thought I'd see the day that I'd say this, because I was always anti being told what to do and having a schedule. But have a schedule.
We might be related. We may be related, I tell you.
Right. Because if you don't have a schedule, you will always, like, time, you know, we only get 24 hours in the day. So for me, it's like I'm up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I will do my 1 hour meditation. I'll be done by around 6. I'll head straight to the gym, because I know if I don't do it from 6 to 7, more than likely it'll never be done on that day. As much as I say I'll go, my husband has this thing for doing it late at night. I don't know how he does it, because I always say, yeah, I'll join you later. And every time I do, I never go, you know. But really following a schedule, And I think that's paramount. And a lot of people may go, oh, you know, and I was one of those people, but following a schedule, knowing exactly what you're doing, and you really using your time constructively in order to get to your goals. And I mean, here's the thing. And, you know, there were times where I was so militant with my time that if I missed it by 10 minutes, and sometimes I would be so upset. But the balance is really in living. And what do I mean by that? Is really in the actual balance of life. So for example, working out what's actually really good for your body, mind, and soul, and giving your body, mind, and soul that. Giving yourself space to try different things, different modalities. So for example, you know, like I said, I did transcendental for a long time. I'm now doing some Joe Dispenza stuff. I also do, like sometimes I'll just search on YouTube, you know, whatever I feel like, meditation, and I'll do that. But allowing yourself and giving loving yourself enough to actually center and sort of say, okay, you know what, I'm really feeling energy depleted right now. So I need to do whatever it is for you to regain that energy. Or, you know, health-wise, I'm really feeling not good right now. What do I do? Okay, well, maybe it's not eating late at night. Maybe it's not eating, you know, that double serving. Maybe it's not eating. I mean, I know for me, if I eat sugar at night, I just can't sleep. And I have the most weirdest dreams. You know, that's just me. But I really just can't sleep. And I already have, and I think most entrepreneurs will have the insomniac problem of getting up in at all different times, at all different hours throughout the morning. But I already suffer from that. So for me, it's super important that if I know that sugar late at night is going to get me to not sleep and have really weird dreams, that I stay away from it. So it's kind of using common sense, but it's really listening to your body. It's amazing. I mean, you know, when you think about your bodies and what they do and how much we've poisoned them and abused them and really not taking good care of them. And for our bodies to still treat us the way we are, it's really something magical. And, you know, we don't give gratitude enough, I don't think, not only to our bodies, but to things in general. And I think the whole thing about 2020 and now 2021 is to really get us more connected with not only each other, but with the environment, and actually be more conscious and to work together more as a united oneness than individually, and actually take care of ourselves and, you know, connect. And like you said earlier, you know, family, and just being there for one another, and actually helping, serving the community, supporting the community, because together we succeed as a whole by doing that.
Now, you know, that's so funny, because for meditation, for me, I have to confess, really, I went to India, Tony Robbins trip, One World Academy back in the day. And when I went, I literally got a note. I am so bad. I got a note from my doctor saying I had to get up every hour, because I was like, there's just no way, and you know what, that I could actually sit and meditate for long hours. and now I actually do at least an hour pretty much in morning and night. It comes to an hour a day, but it took me years. And I think that trip was maybe 2011 or 12, something like that. And so it's taken a while. So if you're listening in and you're just starting with a prayer and meditation practice, and it's practice. Yeah, a little difficult at first, that does not mean it is not possible, because I was like the award winner for "This is never going to work." Yeah, and it was really bad, and I enjoyed it once I figured it out and how it worked for me best.
And it does work. You just have to practice. You just have to continue to do it.
And then scheduling. Now, I remember the other trip that I took was Donnie Epstein, and we're in the same group, Allie and I. And so Donnie Epstein is this incredible energetic healer that works with Tony Robbins and a whole bunch of people, and does chiropractic energetics, epi-energetics. And so I've gone to his events, and he told me, well, schedule is your fuel, but it's also your drain. So if I do not schedule, I don't like scheduling, but when I don't schedule, things don't work out. And because it's my drain, it's also my fuel. So here's the thing. I work really hard to make sure that I have a half a day off once a week where I schedule, and everything gets done better. Now, I came from raising
Right.
6 children. I adopted 3 were mine. So I had these 6 kids, everybody's schedule, running 5 gift stores, doing real estate on the side for fun, and very involved in the community. And that schedule, I mean, I would spend time doing the schedule, and that schedule would go for months. And of course I would review it, but it did everything. And that was back in the paper day.
Wow. I miss
Yeah,
those
and
days. I still have my paper diary because I can't without. So
Yes.
there you go.
Me too.
I'm one of those.
Yes. Yes. I mean, and it was, people be like, how could you get all that done? And I was like, you know what? Once that schedule is on, there's no way I could run my businesses, all the employees. I had over 200 employees in all those gift stores, and my 6 kids and all their appointments. There's no way I could have done that.
Scheduling.
Yes.
Totally.
There's no way. So that's it. That was definitely a tool, and a tool that I still use today. And this is weird. Okay. So we were on lockdown. I don't know if you all have lockdown where you are, but we had like 3 months of lockdown. And during lockdown, I got very little done at home. You know, like you would think I would have like redone my whole house and all that good stuff. No, I get more done when I am busy and productive. Even
and you have less time.
My house. Yes, it's bizarre. It's like I'm happier or something. I need to have a certain amount, and everybody has their level of activity, socialization, and being involved in the community that they need. And so that's something that you need to know. If you're listening and you're still on lockdown, find a way to connect on the phone, through Zoom, through something to give back to the community, even if it's not a job. That's going to make all the difference. My daughter is the same as me. She's doing full time, like plus 18 units, not 12. And she had to get a job because she was going crazy sitting at home. So that's just us. And you have to know, I have other children that it might be way less. They may do way less. They may need more social, and that's who they are. So play to your own personal strengths.
Right.
Or, if you're a parent, to your children's strengths to see what works best. Now, Allie, we're coming closer to the end, so I'd love for you to share about how you help people and what exactly you do with your coaching and training programs.
Sure. So basically, after all this time, I choose to work with 2 types of people. And these are the startups, because I do love my startups. So we were talking about it earlier. It's usually fear that stops them. And I've created my programs that are based on that, where you actually use fear to propel you, to get you to where you want. So fear becomes like your friend. Every time you have that emotion comes up, you just nap it in the butt, and then you just continue forward. And it's usually helping people that are doing their startups get from 0 to 100,000 in 18 months or less. So I'm pretty proud of the system that I've put in place there that actually helps them do that. And the other is to get them from that 100,000 to $1 million, because the hardest part of being an entrepreneur is reaching that $1 million. And again, it's a mindset thing. I mean, both of them are. So, when you're sitting on 100,000 or 100,000 or even 500,000, you kind of go, oh, I want to get to $1 million. I know it's going to happen. But then again, you don't take you don't have the mindset to go, okay, I want it to happen in the next 12 months. And depending on where you're at, it can definitely happen in less than 18 months. So I'm really proud of actually being able to create these systems that help both the startups and also the companies that are making from 100,000 to $1 million, because after $1 million, it's like super easy to scale, super easy to literally scale your business at a very, very quick step. But the hardest is to go from the startup to the 100 grand, and then from the 100 grand to the 1 million. So that in my coaching, those are the 2 types that I work with. In terms of employees, it doesn't really matter if you are just one person and you have perhaps a coaching business that you want to scale, or if you have, 5 employees. Usually it's 3 to 5 employees that will that will get into the 1 million and my clientele, but not always. Sometimes they can actually be more, but they could be losing money. So I usually go in and I look at what it is that they're trying to achieve. I look at the current systems, because without having the system, which obviously includes scheduling, like we were just talking about, that, you know, it's the business is doomed to fail because you don't have direction. So with my coaching, that's what I like to do. But again, it's, you know, I don't just coach business. I also do a little bit of health coaching and a little bit of relationship coaching as well. Purely because, one, it kind of fell into my lap. Two, I actually really, really enjoy it. And three, it's really nice. I see it as a way of actually giving back. And I'm really, you know, using my experience and how I went from, you know, having no relationship, being a complete swiper, sitting on my phone for 12 hours a day. And I mean, I kid you not, swiping on Tinder and on Bumble, you know, now being married for almost 3 years to the man of my dreams, and you know, having this beautiful, amazing life here in Mexico. So yeah, so I like a variety of things. I'm still actively invest in real estate. One of my big things right now is to actually invest in the AI world, so in the artificial intelligence world, looking at everything with the way the world is going at the moment with regards to, you know, flights. I think definitely airplanes and airlines and perhaps new businesses is the way to go, because I don't definitely do COVID to vaccine or not to vaccine, you know, debate right now. But I think there'll be a lot more people that, given the choices of having the vaccine or not, I mean, you know, there'll be the ones that will have it, and there'll be the ones that don't. And the ones that don't, because of the ones that are, it's restricted by the whole airline thing, would find a different way to actually travel, and that would be through their own air travel. And I think that's a great, it's the beginning bell curve, and I think that's a great companies to invest in, definitely.
Yes, we're going to have to get some private jets going for sure. That's great.
Absolutely.
Yes. Sign me up. All right. And where can people reach you to get started if they want to work with you?
So they can find me on social media, ali.com, Instagram at ali.michaels, Facebook, Ali Michaels Clark, or just, I don't know, can we put the details? Oh, no, this is live, right? No, we can't put the details. Ali Michaels, there you go.
Yes, we'll also add the details if you email.
Well, contact Sheila.
Yes. And we can add them for the radio show, because this is going to be sent on the air as well. So perfect.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you again for being a guest on the show, and we will be back after these messages. All right, everyone, stay tuned.
You're welcome.
All right. Take care.
All right, this is Sheila Mack with NBC's Sheila Mack Show. And just in case, to connect with Ali, you may go to www.alymichaels.com, and she is the Global Results Coach and Personal Mentor. And now it's time for Dear Sheila. So if you have a question for me, please send it in to www.dearsheila.com, and your question may be selected to be shared on one of the radio shows. And if your question is shared, it will also be entered in a contest. This is a giveaway question contest. So once your question is shared on the air, you'll be entered to win a prize, and we have some fun prizes from many different vendors. So send your questions in again to Dear Sheila.
Dear Sheila, I struggle with really bad panic attacks. Sometimes it gets so bad that it gets triggered at work and I will have to leave because I can't stop crying. I can't live like this anymore. I'm thinking about trying medication because I want to get in control of my thoughts and my breathing. Because I've heard that meditation helps with anxiety. What do you think about that? What advice can you give me about meditation versus medication? And what techniques work best to conquer anxiety? Signed, struggling to breathe.
Dear struggling to breathe, panic attacks are some severe issues. Now, meditation is a huge help. However, I would definitely start with checking in with my doctor. And the reason I say that is because sometimes panic attacks can be a symptom of something else going on physically. So I would suggest that you go to your doctor, have them do a regular physical exam, and let them know what's going on. Was there something that triggered these attacks? Was there something that happened in your life? Did you hit a rock bottom event that you started to notice these panic attacks? Sometimes it could be that your vitamin D levels are severely low, or some other thing could be terribly off. It could be a medication that you're taking that's interacting with some other thing you're taking, or a food you're eating, and it's causing you to feel like you're having panic attacks. It could be hormones that are off. And so just rule those things out first. You can start meditation right away. Doesn't mean you have to wait for the doctor to start meditation, because meditation is something you could do at any time in your life. Could have been an auto accident. It could have been losing a loved one. Anything can cause panic attacks. And it could be that it reminded you of something that happened when you were really young, and then one little thing brings all that back, and then you start having these severe panic attacks. And once you have a panic attack, it makes you have physical symptoms. And so learning how to breathe when you meditate. When we meditate, we're learning how to slow ourselves down, how to breathe, and how to let go of the outside thoughts and go into a place where we can just calm ourselves. So we're training our body and we're retraining our brain to think differently and get control of our thoughts, because that's a way to get control of these panic attacks. And there has been study after study that shows that meditation will help you overcome these panic attacks. So between your medical doctor, perhaps some therapy or other resources, depending on what was your trigger, and good meditation practice, you can overcome these panic attacks quickly and get back on track. I hope this helped.
Here is another quote on meditation from Dr. Wayne Dyer, now a beautiful, incredible spiritual being, still giving us messages to this day. And here's his message. One of his quotes is, "The practice of meditation takes us on fabulous journeys into the gap between our thoughts, where all the advantages of a peaceful, stress-free, healthier, fatigue-free life are available, but are simply the side benefits."
If you're just tuning in, this is the Sheila Mack Show, and I am your host, Sheila Mack. And today we have special guest, Scott Curtis. Scott is the producer of Behind the Bits, a podcast and serious talk about stand-up comedy. Every week, Scott talks about serious comedians and their craft, where they are inspired by Dave Chappelle and George Carlin, Paula Poundstone, and many more. How do they write their comedy sets? Which jokes work and which ones failed? How do you find your comedy voice? And then they hit on topics every week so that you and I can learn from the professional comedians who have blazed the trail for us. All right. So, Scott, welcome to the show. I'd love for you to share more about your podcast.
Right. Thank you. So Behind the Bits is a passion project for me because I started comedy later in life. I want to learn as much as I can so that I can get as good as I can quickly, because I don't have that many years left. If you start when you're 20, you got a lot more years. I started when I was 52. But the podcast is basically me absorbing as much information from established comedians about how they write, how they book shows, how they get paid, how they perform on stage, what has changed from year 1 to year 5, good advice, bad advice. It's everything that a comedian needs to know about stand-up comedy, coming from the pros who get paid to do it.
All right. And where can people find your podcast or tune into your website?
Right. So the podcast is very easy to find. It's just type in Behind the Bits into any podcast app and it'll come up. Or you can go to my website. It's called thebtbpc.com.
All right. Thank you. And I wanted to give a special thanks to our sponsors, Beyond the Nest Travel. They are expert designed and guided travel retreat experts. They help you redesign your life, recalibrate your motivation, and use travel as a catalyst for self-healing. If you would like to learn more about them, go to www.beyondthenest.com. All right, this is Sheila Mack with NBC's Sheila Mack Show. And just in case, to connect with Allie, you may go to ALYMICHAELS, AllieMichaels.com, and she is the Global Results Coach and Personal Mentor. And I'd also like to thank our special guest and sponsor from Behind the Bits podcast. And if you are looking to start your comedy or take your comedy show to the next level, connect with them. You can look them up under Behind the Bits podcast on all major podcasting channels. This is the Sheila Mack Show on NBC's KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. And today we had some incredible conversations about business, marketing, about how to take time off and travel for your business success, and even how to bring comedy back into our business and personal lives, or actually to share comedy on a stage. So one of the things that I like to talk about and share about is marketing secrets and tips. I have run many businesses for, oh my gosh, over 30 years. We won't go into the age. But anyway, I have run many businesses. And one of the things I had to learn really quickly in order to stay in business was marketing and branding tips. So I'd love to share with you a free short webinar if you are interested in 7 secret marketing tips to help you get your small business or larger business's message to your ideal clients. Then go to www.dearsheila.com, www.dearsheila.com, and in the comments, write marketing secrets, and you will receive a webinar link to get started. If you are just tuning in, this is the Sheila Mack Show here on NBC's KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. Like everyone, I have been itching to travel for a long time now. It's been a year since travel turned off completely and we all started sticking closer to home. I know that I'm not dying to go back to some packed resort and sit by the pool, but I do know that I need adventure in my life. I'm ready to get back out there and start exploring again in a safe and supported way. Lucky for us, travel is coming back in a very big way. With the American population well vaccinated by the end of May and many other countries on par, travel is set to take off real soon, here and globally. So it's time to start dreaming big and finding your travel community. Beyond the Nest is an innovative travel community built in the post-COVID world. Built by 2 amazing open-hearted travelers and cross-generational women business leaders. They know that in a post-COVID world, people are going to want more than what travel used to offer. These women believe in the transformative power of travel. It has built and changed both of their lives, and they know that in 2021, people need this adventurous reboot. Beyond the Nest offers a series of bespoke international and domestic retreats for small groups who value education and luxury equally. Each retreat takes place at a 5-star venue and features renowned experts on the topics of the group's choosing and elusive experiences like hot air balloon rides over cathedrals and private artist-led gallery tours. Their motto is, there's no reason your days of motivation, recalibration, and adventure can't end with a 5-star on-site massage. Yes, I love that motto. Beyond the Nest is already selling out spots for their first few trips. And let me just say, if you want to rethink your passions, rediscover the power of community, and really harness the next chapter of you need to get there. Their first retreat looks absolutely out of this world beautiful. They're headed to famed town of San Miguel de Allendale, Mexico. Have you ever been or seen this place? Talk about enchanting cobblestone alleyways and adorable local shops. It's no wonder this is a global destination and an expat hotspot. Beyond the Nest has a stunning 2-acre private estate along with private cars and drivers, BTN staff, and even someone to coordinate your travel. I definitely wouldn't mind having someone set my first international post-COVID flights up for me. Their first 2 retreats are Flying the Coop, which is aimed at helping people rethink their nest. We've been quarantined, we've been nesting nonstop, and now that the world is returning to normal, it's time to rethink what we want our empty nest to look like, where we want it to be, and how to make that lifestyle happen. The other is called Work From Home to Work From Anywhere. How many of us have started working at home since last year? Well, one thing the pandemic did is it sped up the remote revolution like none other. Now is the time to learn the skills you need to build a remote career, turn your home office set into a from anywhere setup, and learn how to manage your newly remote business or team. The retreat will be handcrafted by the actual group from hundreds of workshops and concepts. The BTN goes to work finding just the right experts to suit the group's intellectual appetite. But their real appetite too, from chef-cooked breakfasts to sunset happy hours to home local cooking classes. You'll eat like a king on the Beyond the Nest retreat, from daily on-site yoga to trips to nationally renowned hot springs and vineyard wine tasting tours. It's basically summer camp for grown-ups, and I am so excited about it. I have been missing the feeling of exploring new places, taking in the sights and new people. Beyond the Nest handpicked some incredible locations for this year, from close to home with domestic retreats to the Caribbean this fall and Asia and then Europe in 2022. Now is the time to get in on their community. There are currently some specials going on. Beyond the Nest is offering our listeners here at the Sheila Mack Show a 15% off. So 15% off on their San Miguel de Allendale retreat and 25% off a second reservation if you opt to come with a friend, spouse, or anyone you love who could really use a 5-star reboot. When you book a call to chat with them, use the code Sheila, SHEILA, for this offer. So hop on the site now, go to the bottom of the page, and schedule a call. That's www.beyondthenest.org. And remember to enter Sheila for 15% off your first spot, 25% off your second. Again, that's www.beyondthenest.org, or find them on Facebook at Go Beyond the Nest. Trust me, this will be the best gift you could give yourself or a loved one in your life this year.
I have to let you know something, just between you and me. This book is not one size fits all, just like a pair of boots or a bra. So the formula is designed to help you through any situation.
Up for you to grab a copy of my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. It is now available on Audible as well as on Amazon and Kindle, and at www.sheilamac.com.